Hey, I'm Glenn Cole, co-founder of 72 and Sunny. We're coming to you from Sport Beach at the Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity, where we are celebrating the intersection of sport, culture, and fandom. I'm joined here by a colleague and friend, Allie Williams of Footballco. We're
Hello.
so glad you're here.
Good morning.
Let's get into it, shall we? Allie, start by just telling us a little bit about yourself, personally. What's your journey? Tell me your journey.
Listen, I'm just like a nice kid from Portland, Oregon. Grew up in a family that loves sports in the shadows of Nike. So had an uncle who was early days there, and I think it just kind of like unlocked something in me that sports can tell really good stories. I dreamt of having a studio apartment in New York from the suburbs of Portland, so I did that as soon as I could.
Oh,
no,
but you did it.
I'm still there.
Okay,
still, still in my studio, no walls. And yeah, have been at like social digital agency world in New York, done brand side at Adidas, been in a few front offices, and now landed at Footballco doing some strategy work.
Well, you're a badass. You're a baller. We worked together while you were at Adidas, and we were at 72. Sunny was doing some of that stuff. Very cool.
Yeah.
Fun to overlap again here.
Yeah.
We love to see our partners shine. Tell me, what standout moment do you want the world to know about Footballco right now?
Yeah, I think...
And if there's not a standout moment, just what are you excited about with Footballco?
So there are only 8 quarters until the 2026 Men's World Cup.
Ooh, that's a good... I haven't heard that one yet. That's good, because there's a lot of World Cup talk here.
It's
already.
Terrifying because there's... I don't think people have yet grasped how big of an opportunity it is.
I agree.
It is going to
Absolutely
be the single largest cultural moment of the modern world, and I say that with full chest.
That happened.
The 1994 World Cup was the most commercially successful in the history of the tournament, and that was 30 years ago in a sport that had no soccer foundation. So you put the success of MLS, you put the success of NWSL, you put the rise of USL, the launch of USL Super League, all of these academies coming up, more talent in our first team on the men's side than we've had in a generation. And then you have the descent of the world on this with a World Cup final outside of New York City. It is going to be seismic. And part of the opportunity is trying to sell that dream. And getting...
Help people get ahead of it.
Right, because there's going to be a point at which the barrier to entry is so much bigger.
Exactly.
And the timelines will be so much shorter. And there's just such an opportunity for meaningful connection. There's such an opportunity for all of the shoulder programming and storytelling to happen earlier, to get in front of the fans, to help shape perceptions. And the clock is ticking. When I started this job, it was 10 quarters. Now it's 8. And I'm just that has gone by very fast. So I expect the next 8 to fly. And we just people will wish that they were in it earlier. So I'm trying to be the best evangelist I can.
That's amazing. Welcome to the sounds of Sport Beach. Our very elegant announcer every now and then booming in through. Many of us from, I guess we would consider inside the sport world and close to football, came to Sport Beach knowing we're only 2 years out.
Yeah.
You got to get your game plan set this summer. I know there's a lot going on. There's Euros, there's Copa, there's the Olympics. But it's go time for strategy for the World Cup if you haven't even gotten on. And it's not too late, but it is go time, right? And probably the minute we all leave, we're starting to set plans. I've noticed a lot of brands are coming not in that mindset.
Right.
They're not necessarily the sport endemic brands, but the ones that are trying to find ways to bring meaning and value.
Yeah.
I find those to be almost introductory conversations.
Yeah.
And the good news, they want to know. I feel like they're showing up, but asking what's a role for my brand, but I don't see the urgency yet, and I'm not sure they spot the opportunity of get in at the ground floor.
Yeah.
Right?
And my hope is that Copa America happening in the U.S. right now will have that ripple effect, and it's not necessarily dependent upon the performance of the host nation. Yeah. which is the U.S. at the moment. But we were in the market being like, Copa is such a big deal. Messi Mania, you've seen it. Now he's going to be playing for the team that the world cares the most about. The jersey he wears that has the most clout and the most attention. And it was a hard sell. And it was late that brands were like, oh no, what can we do for Copa? And we're like, yes, let's help you. Let's get in. You need to take advantage of this. So my hope is that will kind of click some people into gear. The Euros is always an incredible tournament. I have hair in my face. So yeah, hopefully it serves as like a warm up for it.
Yeah.
But it's what is that roadmap that starts in 25. So your storytelling, you can reach the fans, you can get your brand messaging through, and you can also test and see what works so that by the time the tournament is closer, that there's more eyeballs turned on. You're well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
You have your lanes, you have your pathways, you have your unique point of view and your unique voice. So yeah, I feel like I'm selling urgency, and I feel like I'm selling like utopia for marketers, and they don't know it yet.
Right. Well, I don't mean this to sound like a plug, but it is a natural place for Footballco in the journey.
Yeah.
Brands should be calling companies like yours to set a roadmap.
Yeah.
Right now, how they execute it, whether it's with you or someone like 72 or someone else,
Or
who
both
knows?
of us.
But that would be good. The both of us, right? Let's work on some strategy and then go make waves. But is this? That's a laugh because we had an Adidas spot together, making some waves. But talk about how a brand, and I don't mean this in a pluggy way, but I think it's good for people to know if a brand was to call Footballco today and say, I've heard I should probably start working on a roadmap. Like, what's that look like?
Yeah, and I think that's something that's unique to us is we are the world's largest digital media publisher specific to soccer. And that is in the US as well before we even started propping up a team. I have been at the company since January, really starting to develop our US strategy and take these decades of global learnings that we have and bring them to this market. So we have the content chops, we have the inventory, we can, we have 1.5 billion video views on a monthly basis. So we can get you the eyeballs. But what we can also do is go much further up in the funnel and say, help me get to know your brand. And this is like what I love, right? Because this is what my background is in. I'm a first-time member of the media industry, but I love like getting in and unpicking whys and what makes you and not the other brands in your category. What audience are you trying to reach? And then what do we know about that audience that will be unique because of our expertise? And we constantly are surveying them. We have a research project out right now, or beginning right now, about the intersection of fashion and football with an emphasis on the women's game, but like we're just constantly curious about it. So how can we take what you know about the brand, take what we know about the sport, and build that roadmap? And we love starting earlier in the process than just like, oh, this is the content you want made, or this is the content you want flighted. Right. Like, of course, we have spots and dots. We can sell direct IO, programmatic, do whatever you want. We can do it for you and make it successful. But the magic is when there's kind of experts in the room from all different areas. And how do we kind of use that conflict and that tension to find the magic that comes when all of these different points of view come together?
Oh, I'm sure for a brand who's trying to figure out what to do, that's just oxygen to get that up front, that kind of guidance. I'm going to plug you a little bit before I ask you my next question. Okay. So for those who don't know, Ali is one of the people you were part of the team, led the team potentially for the launch of the San Diego Wave and WSL franchise in San Diego, including helping with I'll just call it the general branding. I'll let you elaborate on it. And Angel City Football Club, which for those of us in Los Angeles is arguably, that's my favorite sports experience. In a great sports town, it is my favorite sports experience. It's very unique. Fun. And you've even helped, I think, rebrand the Gotham FC.
Just help with some repositioning.
Some repositioning. So, not to overstate that. But they did call you because you have success and good instincts in establishing a foundation in these communities that makes their presence authentic, which I think is what brands, even on a national level, they're looking for. Hey, I don't want to just come in and sponsor something. I do want to show up authentically. Can you share some of your experiences from launching these things and how it might apply to a brand who's trying to figure out their World Cup game?
Yeah, and it like started earlier for me when I was at Adidas working on MLS strategy, and I saw LAFC come into the league. I saw Austin FC come into the league. Atlanta with everything that Arthur Blank did down there. So I like had all of these different reference points of people being successful doing it so differently. And so when I had the opportunity to consult and then go in-house at Angel City, it was finding what was unique to them, which is finding the intersection of capital and mission. So they wanted to use sport to change lives, and to enact change and to draw attention to inequities. San Diego is just such a different environment, but also has a reputation of being a really tough sports town. Teams leave. That's the legacy of San Diego sports. So it was, what part of this community can we build a relationship with that's not transactional? And how do we build a team that stays through generations, that's passed down from generation to generation, not from city to city? It was a line in a spot that we ran. So it was leaning into the youth community, and building a brand, a color palette that they would proudly wear on their chest, right? And then going to Gotham, there's this hole in merch in global football. There's, the PSGs of the world. There's what Adidas is doing with Arsenal, but there's no club, especially women specific, that like is the one you go to when you think of sportswear. Yeah. When you think of like cool fashion, high street
it's like
fashion.
Fan merch right now.
Right.
It's
there's
just
merch.
Badge it and
there's fan gear, and there's merch. Like you go to a concert and you buy merch, and it's cool, and it's just like, I was there, I was part of this, I leaned in, and then there's fan gear, which is like, I love this mark, I'm going to rep it, and I care about it, which is so important. Yeah. But what we were doing at Gotham was trying to change the sensibility to be, if you didn't care about this club, would you wear this shirt? And how do we turn that into a walking billboard for us in a different way? So the designers that we were able to work with, young women of color and in the community, outside the community, and the briefs I was writing were like concert tee inspired and different sportswear kind of motifs. And we were able to pull off something super special and take that merch business where it hadn't been before. And it was because it looked different than what you saw. And fans who are diehard fans were buying it because it wasn't your typical fan gear. And I think that's another huge opportunity. And when you can draw the lines between fashion, between entertainment, music, there's so many different reasons why people come into the game of soccer, and people stay in the game of soccer. So finding those stories, finding those touch points, and finding whatever it is that you think you can do different and what you think you can do best, that's where magic happens.
Do you think any big brands that could come in, even kind of big consumer packaged good type brands, could kind of have their own merch game at the World Cup?
Honestly,
cereals and
I absolutely do. I
cleansers.
have a buddy who owns Saturday's Football, and it's the largest U.S. Owned vintage jersey kind of store and shop. And he will regularly drop like 1994 World Cup gear. And I have like a Snickers branded jacket from 1994. And it's like the greatest thing. Like in that era, all of the World Cup sponsors were throwing gear and merch into the world. And now it has this like prestigious shine as like the vintage get. So I do think where fashion is recycled, like my nieces are wearing what I wore in high school, that it comes back. And yeah, I think there is an interesting opportunity for merch. Sports Innovation Lab is doing the Power of Merch in Women's Sport, a study right now. So yeah, I'm just plugging all of the cool people doing good shit.
You should.
But yeah, like I think
can help.
Merch matters.
It does, yeah. I think today it is an advertisement.
Yeah.
And I think it's how people opt in.
Yeah.
Was a laptop sticker when you were in office? Not many people are in the office still.
Yeah.
Put the hat or the hoodie on.
Yeah.
At least you're on Zoom and repping what you're about.
Yeah.
What have been your goals coming to bringing Footballco to Cannes, this festival, coming to Sport Beach, and how's it met those goals? And also, give me some like serendipity, something that happened that kind of exceeded your expectations, if anything.
Yeah. Well, exceeding the expectation is being able to be at the FIFA plage and get a selfie with Ronaldo and like hear him talking to a friend, like, and just talking about, like, I'm like, that's Ronaldo phenomenal. Like, what, he lives in Sao Paulo.
I was
like,
gonna say which Ronaldo. There are a few.
Yeah, so it's R9.
R9.
The Ronaldo, your favorite player's favorite player. So that was just like that was one of those things where I was like, what is life? Like, that's my friend Duda. I am hyping her up, being like, you belong here. And then in my head, I'm like, but I don't belong here in the audience because this is mad, because that's Ronaldo right there. So that was mad. But the purpose here was, you know, Goal.com, which is our main platform, is 20 years old,
right.
and it has a global equity that's just unmatched. But that doesn't have kind of the deep roots in the U.S. in the same way. So it's very much like brand awareness. Like, we're here, and we can be part of your solution, right? Like, we can go insert ourselves in any part of the process, and we can meet whatever objectives you want. And we have a certain level of expertise. And our leadership in the U.S., a lot of them have come from lifestyle, and that's by design, because we report news scores and analysis, and so many stories, constant fire hose of content. But beyond that, we are developing storytelling and beyond the 90 minutes, outside of the pitch, that serves as kind of that two-way door. It brings people in for different reasons, and it gets people who are in to stay a little bit longer, which is what brands would want, right? So the purpose of coming here is to make connections and to put a face to this company, and put our company, our platforms out there. So Goal.com is kind of our flagship. We are in earnest launching our women's platform, which is called Indivisa.
Let's go. That's awesome.
Good.
That's going to be
so
great.
The tagline for that on our merch is more women in soccer.
Cool.
At every level. So our UK team has a show coming out called More Women in Football. So it's establishing ourselves as experts and hopefully as co-conspirators with people to disrupt, to do some fun things, and to have these serendipitous moments.
Are there brands who have successfully? Hello, which was that? Gotcha.
I know, I was very confused.
I was
too.
like, that's-
I was about to be like, what time?
What's up? Are there brands that if another brand partner is watching and wondering, is there like an example of an engagement with Footballco that I could look at as a comp? What is a brand you'd point to that has had a successful co-conspirator relationship?
I mean, I think the best co-conspirators in women's sports right now is Elf. And they came to us, every eye, lip, and face. They are disrupting F1. They are partnering with Laura Carenti and iHeartMedia and Deep Blue for that podcast network and their Drive Time Radio that was announced this week. They came to us at the start of the year wanting to enter soccer, but not necessarily knowing how. And there's still a little bit of trepidation about like not wanting to enter the sport without knowing much about the sport, because it's still a little bit unknown as kind of a cultural entity. So they came to us and they wanted to bring together, obviously, their beautiful makeup, their ethos that's just like empowering women to feel confident. And that goes so much deeper than the makeup you put on your face. So we took the Get Ready With Me trend, re-skinned it as Get Ready to Play, GRTP. And that is as much like talking about your mental health. It's talking about how you care for your body. It's talking about how you hold on to lessons and recover and maintain your resilience and competitiveness and camaraderie, as it is like, and like, actually, how do you keep that skin glowy? Like, talk to me about that.
Which contributes to confidence.
Totally. And there's like a meditative state when you're just like actually caring about that. So we propped up a YouTube talk show. We contracted multiple athletes to do a series of Get Ready to Play, like face to camera makeup tutorials. Christy Mios was one of the flagships, and she did her makeup for a game day, and she was joking about how all of her West Ham teammates like laugh at her Americanisms. She's like, one of them is I say, "Go Hammies." So in the comment section of that post,
that's pretty cool though.
It's honestly, so it gets cooler. In the comment section of that post, the community's all like sounding off this hilarious. Cue the club, who on their official Instagram said, "Go Hammies." Like, they changed the bio of their handle to include that line. And it's just like,
that's cool.
Women's sports is so much less competitive. It's so much less tribal. Like, we just want to see each other win. Fair.
Yeah.
It's competitive, but not combative. That's probably a better way to phrase it. Thank you. But it's not like, it doesn't feel like a zero-sum game. Like there's room for everyone, and those of us who are in it are just like, fucking come on, like get in, just welcome. Now bring more people with you. It's such a good opportunity from a business perspective. It's such a great supportive community that there's not necessarily a need to bring others down for certain brands to rise up, for like sports to rise up. The W supports NWSL. NWSL supports the W. You know, we're all super excited by what's happening with hockey. Volleyball is on the come up. And that is amazing. Yeah. Like, it's not like, man, the W is getting so much attention right now. Soccer is just not going to make it.
Yeah, all the boats are rising at that time.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I want to. That's incredible. I'm listening to you thinking, I just don't know who's watching this, not thinking, can I please at least just get an hour and just. You can hit them with something, and they can decide if they're going to stick with you. I'd be shocked if they didn't.
Please.
Fill
up my calendar.
You are very generous with your ideas and your strategy and your perspective on the game. I appreciate that it's not short term at all. You seem like you're a very purpose-led person. I know as being a partner. How do you articulate your purpose? I have a feeling if we talk in a year, we talk in 10 years, we talk at the twilight of our careers, your purpose will be a very clear through line of the choices you're making and the guidance you're giving to brands, peers, and others. How do you articulate the purpose you have in this business?
I think sports matter.
Yeah.
And it's one of the few remaining places we have in popular culture where you're sitting and the people next to you might not have the same algorithm. And there's a shared humanity in it. And there's competitiveness. Like, whatever, I am a Portland Trailblazer fan, so if you were a fan of the Lakers in the early 2000s, like
Jerome Kersey?
that was, oh my
Sorry,
gosh.
it was a throwback. Buck Williams, throwback?
I had people convinced he was my uncle in elementary school.
Buck Williams?
Allie Williams, Buck Williams.
Okay, that's
It's Portland, Oregon.
strategy.
We were, I know.
Yeah. Are you related to Buck Williams? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well,
I
Oregon.
am not. But so there's a
separate podcast,
tribalism, there's some competitiveness, but there's also some shared love. And I think because it brings eyeballs together, there were 1.5 billion people who watched the World Cup final, and 150 million people watched the Super Bowl. Like, within sports, the soccer is just in its own echelon globally. And so what that does is it unlocks all of these groups of people that maybe wouldn't be grouped otherwise. And that gives you so much opportunity to bring different stories in front of them and find that shared commonality of a starting point in your life or a turning point in your life or obstacles you had to overcome. So I just love sports. I love watching them. I don't love playing them anymore because my body hurts.
Oh, you do love playing them. You just wish we wish the body would say yes more, right?
Now I'm like, oh, you want to go shoot hoops? I'll rebound. I'm like, Horace is gone. The inconsistency. If I shoot off one leg because I've had 3 ankle reconstructions, then maybe there's a chance.
Yeah,
but I love rebounding, and like, sure, we can knock the ball around a little bit. I just won't want to move very much. But I just think it's beautiful, and it's a balance of like personal responsibility and collective teamwork and orchestra making with all these people making their own decisions to make everyone around them better. And that's just a model that makes the world better. Yay sports at Sport Beach.
Are you kidding? People, if you are not calling this person and calling Footballco to just get a bounce on things, I think you're leaving something out on the field, and you gotta get back out there and give you a call. That's amazing, and it's not surprising either. We're glad you're here.
Thanks for having us.
And we're glad, and I'm personally glad you are just in the sport ecosystem. I think we need more like you, Allie, and I kind of don't want to take it down from there. I feel, is there anything though you want folks to know about Footballco or anything?
I mean, just reach out. We are here. We are building an ecosystem of storytelling in soccer that we are super passionate about. It's on field, it's off field, it's everything beyond that. Elevating players, giving the fan perspective. It's awesome. So call us.
Yeah, you rock.
Call me maybe.
Thank you so much, Allie. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure you follow 72 and Sunny and Stagwell across social. Well, you follow whoever you want on social, but that's where
Indivisa.
that's where you'll find
Goal USA.
Mundial. I think is it Mundial?
Yeah.
Throwing out
Nailed
I
it.
got my
Nailed
Footballco
it. You got
properties.
to.
Catch up on all the action going on here at Sport Beach in season 2. Allie, appreciate you.
See you in season
keep
3.
fighting the good, and see you at World Cup.
Oh my gosh.
Don't be left behind,
It's gonna
y'all.
be a party.
All right. Thank you.
See ya.